What's up?
Hey. I think yesterday was the first time in 38 years Cowboys offense had had 300 passing and 200 rushing. Can you just speak to the difficulty of doing that and what it says about where this group is at the moment?
Just found out about that. Realized the ramifications, I guess. Yeah, our guys did a really excellent job. Really balanced attack, having the ability to throw and pass at the same time. Obviously starts up front, handled it really well up front, was able to get the run game going. And obviously the explosive passes came off that as the game went on, and felt like our guys were in a really good place.
The tempo was maybe most aggressive at the very start of the game for you guys. What went into that sort of approach to begin the game?
Early in the game, just felt like we had a good opportunity just to mix the tempo. And as the game goes, you know, there's times where maybe we'll crank back into the tempo. At times we'll slow it back down. And we just kind of play that game. Ultimately, probably used it more in the first half, and particularly that first quarter. We had a lot of plays in the first quarter, and then you know, as those games go on, you got to kind of have the flow of the game. Is defense out there a lot? When do we want to reapply the tempo? And so you're always kind of playing that balancing act, I think, and understand the pulse of the game.
What was the thinking specifically for that first quarter approach? Why push so hard?
We just felt like we had a really good opportunity. We felt very comfortable with the plays that we were going to run with some tempo, and wanted to get after it.
Back on the yardage thing, I think it was 3 straight weeks you'd averaged 201 rushing. You hit that number exactly yesterday. I mean, what is it about this running game that's made it so effective through this stretch?
I think the run game really starts with the players. You know, the offensive line, they're coming off the ball, they're being really aggressive, they're playing and very confident, and our runners are really doing a phenomenal job having patience when they need patience to kind of set up blocks, and then at the other, in another sense, when it is time to hit it, they hit it, and we always talk about it takes all 11. The receivers are a part of this thing, the tight ends, the quarterback booting, everyone's putting their piece into it.
Good with Zeke since he got here. Is he running more of a physicality than you've ever seen him, or when he first got here?
That'd be a tough answer. I don't know. Have to study that pretty thoroughly, but I think he's in a really, really good place right now. I could say right now he is awesome. He's playing great football, and we're fired up.
I don't want to suggest anything about it is easy, but when the run game is clicking like that, I mean, does it make your job as a play caller easier?
Running the football is an important aspect of this game. You don't always have to do it all the time. There's times where, hey, you don't have to establish the run or any of those things. But when you do have the ability to run it and you're getting, you know, at one point I think we're averaging about 7 yards a carry, it makes football a whole lot easier, and it certainly allows you to play off of that. You know, when you can run the football and then do all the things that you can run off of that, I think we're in a really good place with it.
There's a play early in the game where the defender grabs Dak's legs and Dak manages to throw the ball out of bounds nonetheless. What kind of athleticism and game awareness does it take to avoid the sack there, and how do you coach that?
You don't coach it. Second, I think it takes tremendous strength to be able to stand in the pocket like that. Obviously, for him to be able to stay up, first of all, but also to be willing to stay in there and find a way to throw the ball away. Those are huge plays when you're able to throw away. Sometimes those are the biggest positive plays that a quarterback can have in a game, and most people think of them just silly, irrelevant plays. But avoiding a sack, throwing it away, sometimes those are plus plays in a quarterback's grade, and those are one of them.
Can you go back to tempo for a second? How much do you have to really be in sync with Dak to say, all right, let's pick it up here, or maybe slow it down?
Yeah, I think we're trying to always find our places, when to apply it. You know, you got to have a sense of where our team's at and also where the other team's at. And, you know, there's going to be certain plays in the game plan that we feel like we want to use the tempo to utilize these plays. And there's other times where, based off the game plan, based off a defense look, maybe it's not presenting itself as favorably. And we want to be able to be that versatile that we can play in and out of it throughout the game.
A Bill Belichick defense has earned the reputation of kind of making an offense play left-handed, take away what they do best.
I'm lefty. I'm okay. Always hating on the lefties. Okay.
But as versatile as you guys have proven to be over the first 5 games, do you feel as well equipped as you could be for that challenge?
This game will be a tremendous challenge. They'll do a tremendous job preparing for us. They'll make it difficult on us. We got a big week ahead of us to prepare for this game, and this will be a big challenge going on the road to play a team like this. Really well coached, really good players. They know their system very well. They know how to make adjustments within the game, and so from our standpoint, we're going to need to prepare really well, but also understand that adjustment football may apply to this game, and we're going to have to be ready.
Is this among the hardest games to prepare for? Because you hear people say what they show one week, they're not going to do the next week, and think they just seem to have a Rolodex of things they can throw out week to week.
Yeah, certainly they can do a lot of football. They are very well coached. They're very sound in what they do. They do a great job of game planning against offenses and taking away strengths. And so as we go through this process, through this week, I think we're going to have to do a really good job of honing in our game plan, feeling very confident, and also understand that adjustments may need to be applied throughout the game, and guys got to be ready to adjust.
Do you ever get caught up in who you're going against? You've been a player, and I mean, now do you look forward to certain matchups like that against coaches who have proven their ability, or are you strictly just looking at the system and you take personality out of it completely?
Well, I think you got to know the defensive approach from a coach's standpoint, understand their history, what they like to do. Everyone's got 5 games in so far. There's a lot of games in previous years that may apply to this, and so you're always trying to find those different wrinkles and different things that you may be able to look for that may apply to this game. But these guys obviously do it, over the course of this long history of the Patriots. They've done it better than anyone else.
You talked a little bit about the challenge of preparing for them, but what do you respect most about Belichick's coaching career overall, and what parts of his coaching, achievements or success do you want to emulate?
They put their players in the best position to be successful. And I think as a coach, you're always trying to hopefully put your guys in the best situation, and they do that better than anyone. They recognize what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are, maybe if there are any, and they plan accordingly, and they put themselves in a really good situation to have success on Sundays. And week in and week out, it can be a different flavor, it can be a different scheme maybe, but they always are prepared, and they always do a really, really good job.
As a play caller, is this a challenge for you, a test for you to look forward to matching wits with Belichick?
This game will be fun. It'll be another one just like a number of these games we've had with different defense coordinators. It's always a challenge each and every week to hopefully put ourselves together with a really good game plan, understand adjustments may need to apply to different games, different situations. But, I think we're really excited about this one.
Nothing more because of Belichick. So, I know it's defense coordinator of the week, but this is...
Yeah, obviously he's the best coach in NFL history. Obviously we understand that aspect of it. He's been a defensive guy for a very long time, and a ton of respect for him, and certainly someone that as a younger coach you're always learning from these types of coaches who've done it for a long time, have had a ton of success, and you learn through this process.
The touchdown pass that Dak had to Zeke over on the right, how long have you guys put that play in? And did you expect it to kind of work that well? It just doesn't seem like there's touchdowns that are that wide open in the NFL.
The primary target was CD, and they ended up covering CD, and that was kind of the second guy in the process. And we always said keep Zeke alive, because when you fake it to the running back, sometimes they kind of forget about him. And so it happened. He ended up popping, and it was an awesome touchdown.
The relationship that you have with Dak now, how much of that was built through your time with him as a fellow player versus your time as one of his coaches?
Yeah, obviously a unique circumstance to be with the guy, as a player together in the same room, and then obviously transitioning to the coaching aspect. I think in many ways, especially early on, you can relate in many ways, because a lot of things we're asking a quarterback to do. I was fortunate to be in that situation, in the same room, being asked to do it from Scott or Wade or Jason at the time, and so hopefully I can relate in that way. And obviously we built a relationship as co-players initially, and it's obviously developed into the coach-player relationship, and have a ton of trust in him, ton of trust, ton of faith. I think we have seen the game in many ways over the course of these number of years together. So we've been able to talk through a lot of things, been in a lot of quarterback rooms. The unique thing I think about a quarterback room is sometimes those impromptu conversations that come up. You're watching a game of opponent, some situation comes up, a play comes up, and those kind of off-schedule conversations, sometimes those things end up applying in a real game. And you say, holy cow, we were talking about that, and lo and behold, it shows up. It may show up in a couple weeks, but we're always talking those situations, talking football, and I think that's what's awesome about what we have in our quarterback room here right now.
Cedric had a pass, a carry, and a catch yesterday in the game. What's it like preparing for him in the game? And you have a lot of versatile players, but how different is he just generally from the guys you coach?
Ced's a really smart player. I think we've said it a number of times. He knows the whole offense. He's got a unique experience being a quarterback in high school, developing the wide receiver traits, being a returner, so he's very comfortable with the ball out in space and running with it. And so he does a lot of really good things for us, and he's one of those guys that he can apply to a lot of different things, and we continue to try and utilize him as much as we can.
Get a minus for the pass that looked like CD might have had a touchdown.
Yeah, he made up for it with the catch, but we're hoping for the touchdown there. So he was helping out his boy Noah, I guess. So
You've talked to us a few times over the years just about all the different places you draw inspiration from, seeing plays you like. Can you elaborate a little bit on that process and how much time on task between when you see something you like and when you're ready to call it in the game?
Yeah, the time on task kind of varies. We're always trying to collect as much information as we can. At times, it's not going to apply maybe for that particular week, but looking at college, looking at NFL, trying to find different resources that we feel like can apply. And a lot of times you're looking at it, there's a lot of stuff in football. All of us have access to it so much easier probably now than ever. And so I think there's a balancing act. There's really cool stuff that you kind of say, hey, that's a really awesome play. I'd love to run that, but we got 2 practice days. We only got so many times to rep it, and so you got to pick and choose your battles a little bit there. But we enjoy it. I think our offensive staff, we really embrace it. The idea that, let's be creative, let's be open-minded. Kyle Valero, Chase Hasley, we kind of have a little fun thing on Mondays where we kind of take a trip around the league, see all the trends that are going on, sometimes dabble in the college world. And so we're always looking for different inspirations and throw them in folders, throw them in cut-up folders, and it may apply 6 weeks down the road. It may not apply this year. It may apply next year. Who really knows? But we're always trying to gather information.
I'm not trying to get you to give it too much away, but just from a layman's perspective, is it realistic that you see something awesome on Monday Night Football tonight and it's in the game plan this week? I mean, is that even?
Yeah. We got Wednesday's practice, Thursday's practice, Friday's a walkthrough, Saturday's one more practice. You'd like to get, at least one full speed rep of something and then I think there's always a balancing act. Does it feel similar to something and you can apply it to a very similar concept that we've been doing? Is it a very new broad subject that we need to maybe take some time and get 2 or 3 reps at it? But I think our guys really embrace it, which is the fun part. Sometimes players come up with the ideas, and we want that atmosphere.
Along those lines, you guys have had unscattered looks every single game. Is that something that you actively do each game throughout a season? Or if so, how many new looks can you apply into one game? How do you kind of sift through that?
From our perspective, we're given different looks. Yeah. I think we're continuing to try and use as many personnel, create different formations. Again, sound plays that we feel very comfortable with. Obviously, we understand that on the other side of it, the defense has to process those different personnel, process those different plays or formations, and we understand that there's a limited resource throughout the week as far as practice and walkthroughs and those different things. And so sometimes those things may seem very simple to us, and hopefully they apply a little bit more complex to the defense. And so I think there's some value in that. Balancing that out. You don't want to turn into someone that you're not. You don't want to spend all week trying to be the trick 'em team. You got to have a foundation to you. But at the same time, when you have those opportunities to sprinkle some things in there, they're simple plays in our mind, maybe a few flavors each and every week, and defense have to spend time on them.
What percentage of your work week would you say is devoted to collecting, getting ideas, knowing you may not use them that week, but knowing you'll use them at some point, or maybe you'll spark something else? Is there a percentage you could put on it about how much of it is in your work week?
I would say not a whole lot. Mondays is kind of our day to it's early in the week. We just got done with our game with the Giants. We review that game, watch it. We quickly turn our attention to New England, and at the same time, I think it's important to always see the pulse of this league. This league is very much a copycat league. If you see something, both on offense and defense, I think in many ways. And so if something's happening across the league, maybe it's not in your opponents that you've had the last few weeks, but something maybe, for example, going on in the AFC that, some teams are kind of catching on to a trend. And I think we're always trying to be conscious of making sure we're aware of what's going on. And again, those things may apply this week. They may apply a later week, but you want to see where the league's at and then quickly be able to turn your page to New England.
When Mike came here, obviously he gave up the play call and allowed you to continue to do that. When he has the success that he's had in that spot in his career and he gives it to you, is that adding pressure to you? And in the second year of you guys together, is there more freedom that he allows you? Does he bounce more things off you? Does he kind of let you go? What's that?
No, obviously, I would say I feel very fortunate to be in the situation I am in. Obviously, Mike's had a ton of success in this league as a head coach and a play caller. He's an awesome resource for me as I go through each and every week to talk through conversations. Hey, what do you think about this situation? What do you think if we, maybe did X, Y, and Z? And we're able to bounce those ideas off together. And I think as this has came into our second year together, I think we're so well aligned as far as our approach and the system and the routine that we take each and every week that we're in a really, really good place, and that applies to the whole offensive staff. I think anytime you're able to have the same staff for a second year together, again, this is the first time I've ever been a part of a staff where it's the same staff, and so this offseason was awesome because we could really start right where we left off and take off from there, and so it's been an awesome process.
What's Nuss like in the quarterback room and just your guys' relationship?
Yeah, Nuss been awesome. Obviously, he was a part of here for a couple years before Mike came here, and so I feel fortunate to have a guy like him in the quarterback room, and he does a tremendous job. He does a lot of work behind the doors, so to speak, with the quarterbacks, just taking their prep each and every day, just because sometimes I may be doing something here and there, and Nuss does an awesome job. Takes those guys through fundamentals, takes care of those quarterbacks, and at the same time, huge resource for me as I game plan and we go through this process as an offensive staff, being able to pull nuggets from different places, and he does a really good job.
Kellen, that year 16 when you got off to a good start and the league didn't really know what to make of your team, and everybody said, well, wait till they go to Green Bay and wait till they play Pittsburgh. Any similarities between these teams?
It's a great question, and yeah, it's a great process to think about. 16, I think we played well early, and there are certain games that obviously you have a great opportunity to go play a really quality team on the road. Road games are big to have those opportunities against a well-coached team like this. You're playing, there's going to be maybe some weather elements, who knows, you're going up to the Northeast, and I think these are awesome opportunities for us just to take the next step, and we took care of the home 3-game stand. That was big for us, and now we get an opportunity to go on the road, and it'll be big.
How do you think players are responding to the mental conditioning portion on Friday? And did you ever have anything like that when you were a player where it was team mental conditioning as opposed to individual players working on it?
I would say what we have going on Fridays with Chad Bowling is phenomenal. I'm gonna kind of praise Chad a little bit. He's probably gonna hate me for saying this, but I think Chad's the best in the business. Anyone who knows him, he's part of the Yankees and part of our group. He is the best, and I've continued to try and emphasize guys building relationships with him, just because something I kind of you're around the mental aspect of this game and around sports for a long time, but it was really when I got hurt in 16 where I finally kind of realized the importance of this aspect of thing. Going through a challenging situation like that where you're hurt and not able to play, Chad was an awesome resource for me, and he's been an awesome resource all the way through this whole process to today. And he's awesome for our staff, for our players, does a tremendous job of keeping those guys focused, being personal connections for them, but also for our entire team, just to keep the message consistent. Speaking of being neutral, you've probably heard that term a lot this past year with the players. That's a big focus and big credit to Chad.
About his messages or about his ability to listen?
I think both. consistent message and ability to listen to the players and be able to understand that each guy's a little bit different. I think that's one of those things is, I think I've been fortunate to be around some great coaches here with Jason, Mike, and so many others. Understand that each player's a little bit different. You got to understand their triggers. How are they wired? How do they handle success or failure, mistakes or successes? And so I think, Chad's one of those awesome resources I've been able to, lean on and ask for help. And, how have you applied this situation? How have you handled this thing that may come up in a game and in a practice? And he's been awesome.
What was the most helpful thing he told you in 2016 when you were going through the injury?
That'd be a great question. I would really want to analyze that. I think, he did a tremendous job of understanding this injury thing as a part of the process. A lot of people, they say the NFL injury rate is 100%. If you play in the NFL, everyone's going to get hurt at some point. And he did a great job of understanding. I think Dak handled it in a similar way where there's not a timeline to injury recoveries. And I think everyone always wants to put a timeline to something. It's 2 weeks, it's 4 weeks. Well, injuries are different for everyone. Every body's different. And so not putting a timeline, and most importantly on yourself. Understand that the process is going to take care of itself. You do everything you can, but at the end of the day, when you're ready, you're ready. And sometimes we can all try and say, I'm going to mark a spot, and this is going to be, I'm getting back for this point. Go through the process. Trust the trainers. Trust the recovery process. Chad's been awesome for guys who've gone through that process, and will continue to be.
All the resources that athletes across different levels of sports have, do you think mental conditioning is an underrepresented resource based on how you've seen it work here?
I completely agree. Everyone understands the weight room aspect, and that's a huge aspect of this thing. Everyone's kind of at that level. I think the mental aspect of this game is becoming more and more important. I think some people are recognizing how important it is. These players go through a lot. There's a lot of pressure on them, whether they want it or not, to handle success, handle failure, handle disappointment, handle the times that go well outside and internally. And so everyone needs this stuff. Everyone needs to understand that this is a very, very important aspect of this thing, and I think guys are really embracing it. Guys are understanding how important it is, willing to be vulnerable in those type of circumstances, which I think is huge. And so I think we're very fortunate to have Chad and different people within this program to help.
Is there a team camaraderie? Is there a team camaraderie development component to it when, going through this sort of training? It does require some measure of vulnerability. And so for the group to do that collectively, does that in turn bring people closer together, do you feel?
I definitely think so. Going through this process, guys willing to understand that it's okay to talk about challenges in this profession. Everyone's going to go through them, but also talking through handling success too. Doesn't have to be a dealing with failure. You also have to deal with success too. And our guys understand that you got to reset the deal each week, be neutral. We've continued to emphasize, as you guys have probably heard through so many players, the unselfish play, especially on offense. We've continued to, that's our calling card. That guys understand that everyone's going to get opportunities. It's going to take all 11 to help each other out. CD doesn't have a ton of touches the last two games. He gets a handful today, this past game makes a huge difference. And Zeke's going to go through that process. Tampa doesn't get a ton of carries. Understands that eventually he's going to get his opportunities, but you're going to go block and do a tremendous job in the protection game in this game. And we're going to need the receivers to make more plays. And so the guys understand the flow of this thing. That unselfish play, keep chipping away at this thing. Your opportunities are going to come, and while your opportunities aren't there, go help someone else out and let them make plays.
Thank you, Kellen.
Okay. Thanks.